Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 361, season 15. Today's date is September 8th, 2024, and welcome to the show. Yes, I got another one today. On today's program, I'm going to talk about a TV program from the 1960s. It was the Lloyd Thaxton show. Primarily, I'm going to talk about its host, Lloyd Thaxton. I'll talk about his biography and the show itself. Also, I'll talk about red Goose shoes that were sold in the Chicagoland area. I'll talk about a little of my memories of that particular shoe brand. But first, we go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Camay Soap. Beauty soap, that is, excuse me. So, and here's a commercial from 1977. Yeah, I played this before, long time ago. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the program, folks. Thank you.
Karen is so beautiful and poised. I wasn't. In fact, I cringe when I see pictures of myself at her age. So I learned to work at my looks, and like Karen, I found Camay can help. It's such a gentle, thorough cleanser and rinses easily so you feel soft, smooth, not greasy. Learn to work at your looks and use Camay, the beauty cleanser, for your beautiful young complexion.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Camay Beauty Soap. I'll give you a little history of this wonderful product. It was found by Procter & Gamble in 1926, and it was marketed as a white pure soap for women, and came in other colors later on. And it was intended to make your complexion smooth and silky and beautiful. And the slogan for many years was Camay, the soap for beautiful women. And then it was later replaced for your most beautiful complexion at every age. I think that's better. So it was I remember these commercials from the 70s. I watched them all the time. The two soap operas that were no longer on the air sponsor it. It was As the World Turns and Search for Tomorrow. Remember those two? I think Search Tomorrow went off the air years ago. And there were spokesmodels for this particular brand. One was Shelley Long. She did one. I'm trying to find a commercial for her. The woman that's speaking is... let's see, what's her name? I forgot her name. Like that. So her real name was Luciana Pignatelli, and she was a Italian spokesperson, and she was later a jewelry designer, and that's what she was famous for, is the commercials, not for what she did before. And she married into royalty. She married a prince. His name was Prince Don Niccolo Maria Pignatelli. And so she had a title. Just like that. Then she got... a very... I don't know, she got very worried and paranoid about her looks, and she don't want to be, and then she invested in a lot of companies, and then she lost her money, and then she said to people, I can't face being old and poor, and I don't want to do that. And then she committed suicide in October 2008, which is awful. Why would you do that? That's terrible. Yeah, so that's a shame. Like that. So that was bad. As for Camay, it was been around for years, but then it just disappeared from the U.S. market. And right now, so they don't sell it in the United States anymore. I think they sell it maybe England or India. I don't think so. I know it's out of the country. I think it's in India. That's very popular like that. So if you want to buy it, you can buy it at Amazon if you like. You won't find it here, no. But I remember the cameo on the bar of soap, with the white cameo with the lady on that. Wacky Packages did a parody of that called Clammy, with a very unattractive lady on the bar of soap. That was hilarious. Like that. That was one of my favorites. Okay. Anyway, in the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to talk about the Lloyd Thaxton show that hosted by Lloyd Thaxton from the 1960s, and also Red Goose shoes that were sold in. It was a brand of shoes sold in the Chicagoland area. Before I get started, I don't know if you've noticed this. If you're on social media, on Facebook or X, mostly Facebook, I did an interview with the, just a moment, I'll get it right here. Here we go. For the Urology Care Foundation. And I spoke to a lovely woman. And let's see, I don't know her name well on top of my head, but I'll find it and I'll let you know. And this was gone back about a few weeks ago. Once I get her name out, I'll mention her name. Anyway, she posted it on its Facebook page, and she mentioned that she's going to post this. Okay, her name is Corey Del Bianco, and so she split it up into 5 segments like that, and she sent a link. So I was gonna share it, but she beat me to it, so I did. So I shared it to everything, and I did discuss my journey of my prostate cancer, my diagnosis, my surgery, my recovery, blah blah blah. I always talk about that, and it was very nice. I got some great feedback and wonderful responses from people, and I posted in the prostate cancer group on Facebook. And they were very pleased to see that, and got a little emotional. It really did, and it was tough, but I managed to get through, and I enjoyed it. I really did. And like I always say, if there's something wrong, if you sense something wrong, or if you go to the bathroom a lot, those are symptoms. Please, please, please go see a doctor. It'll help. It'll save your life. And like I said, most men ignore it. They don't want to do it. So I try. Lucky thing, when I went to the doctor, my regular doctor today said, go see a urologist. And and I did. And I did see him, and then he did a biopsy. Cancer was found, and then they had to do surgery. If not, then I wouldn't be here talking to you. It saved my life. It really did. This is very vital, very important. Okay. So I believe there will be more segments throughout the month of September, and they'll be posted. And you will see me speaking about what I said before in my journey of that. And I hope I influence a lot of men, not just men, but women, that have cancer, to deal with this dreadful disease. It's killing a lot of people like that. But there are medications, and treatments to prevent it from spreading. So my prayers are with everyone. Okay, and I appreciate your prayers for me. It's knock on wood. So it'll be 5 years this coming December that was diagnosed. So they mentioned this on the internet. I don't know if it's true, but I believe it is. If you pass the 5-year survival rate, you're going to be fine. It's like almost 100%. So you're going to live a long time. I hope so. Oh, I hope so. We'll see. Okay. Now we're going to have some fun. I'm going to talk about Lloyd Thaxton. Now, a lot of people don't remember him today, especially younger people. They'll say, who? I think people a little older than me do remember him. And he was a very congenial TV host. He hosted a musical program like American Bandstand. And what was different about him? It was the show did not originate from Chicago. It originated from Los Angeles, and then it was syndicated. So I'll give you a little history of that in a moment. Okay. And let's see. So I don't know when it really started exactly. So I think it started about 1961, and that premiered in Los Angeles, I think. And then it featured a lot of kids, high school students dancing to the latest records. I don't know if they rated them. Not sure. So they introduced Lloyd Thaxton, and so in the beginning of the show, he would say, "Hi, I'm." He said, "This is the Lloyd Thaxton show." And he says, "Hi, I'm Lloyd Thaxton." And then you hear the audience go, "So what?" That's what it's according to some people on Facebook mentioned that in the comments like that. And he would lip sync the vocals of any records on guitar or piano. He wasn't a singer. No. Sometimes he dressed in costume, he was a very talented man, so like that. Anyway, so he invited a lot of artists that were very popular at the time, like the Shangri-Las, the Byrds, Sonny and Cher, the Kinks. Bobby Fuller 4, I fought the law and the law won, that one. And there's something very interesting. So let me talk about his biography real quickly. He was born in Memphis, Tennessee, but he grew up in Toledo, Ohio. And then he... After graduating high school, he enlisted in the Navy, and then he started his radio career in Toledo. Then he moved to LA in 1957, and he had a talk show. Called it "Leave It to Lloyd." Sounds like "Leave It to Beaver." And then he became a announcer, and then he had an afternoon show called Lloyd Thaxton's Record Shop in 1959. And then he invited a lot of people, a lot of celebrities like that. Of course, then I mentioned before, then he started his own show in 1961. Now, I think that was syndicated starting in 1964. So it's about 60 years ago. And that premiered on WNBQ TV Channel 5 in Chicago, which after that became WMAQ. And that was like about 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that. And then a lot of teenagers tuned in and watched the show, and they got hooked on it. And they watched all the latest singers, the most popular ones, And I think they did play the latest hits, like the Billboard charts, like that. So that's so it was very highly rated. It really was. And he sort of started the music videos, pre-MTV in a way. So that was the earliest like that, before the Monkees, before Rowan and Martin's Laughing, I think he started this even. And there were other musical TV shows, like, for example, American Bandstand there was Record Hop that was hosted by Jim Lounsbury. Remember him? There was another Chicago, I did a podcast episode about him. And let's see what else. Ed Sullivan, like that. What else was there? Oh, there was Hula Baloo, Shindig, like that. And you can find all that on YouTube. That's not a problem for that. So let's see. Then he launched a magazine, which we're very familiar about this particular magazine, Tiger Beat, and it was first called Lloyd Thaxton's Tiger Beat, and he wrote a column on that, and so he was the co-founder of that. I'm sure there was other people like that, and you know what? I believe it's still in publication. I think it is. I haven't seen it. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's there. If you go to a drugstore, or a grocery store, you go to the magazine section, you will find it. One day I'll try to remember to go there and see if it's still there. Otherwise, you can check online. But I think it was there. After the show went off the air, I think it went off the air about, 1968 or 69. Then he hosted two game shows for ABC. One was called Everybody's Talking and Funny You Should Ask. And then he hosted a radio show in Los Angeles from 1972 to 1974. It was on Sundays. And he created a game show called Profan, and he also was the announcer. Then he became a producer and a director of the weekly consumer advocate show, Fight Back with David Horowitz. Do you remember that show? And that ran for like 1976 to 1992. And he was the producer of that. So a lot of people didn't know that, and he was also an author. He He wrote a bestseller book called Stuff Happens. And he was with a motivation speaker with John Alston. That was like that. Then he got, what's that called? Then he got sick, and he was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, and then he passed away on October 2008. That's when he died. So there are videos of him on interviews, that is, of him, and he talks about his life. And I watched a couple of them, and they're very interesting. And I watched a few shows, and you go back in the 60s, and, it's pretty tame, but entertaining. It was fun to watch. It really was. Yeah. So surprisingly, most people do remember him. And also, his trademark, when the audience said, "So what?" Like that. So that must have been fun back in those days. I was a little kid back then, when the show was aired. Not old enough to watch television. So, but over the years when I grew up, I remember hearing his name or reading about it like that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take a quick break, and then when I come back, I will talk about Red Goose shoes. But first, I'm going to play a commercial for Red Goose shoes. This is from 1954. Oh, that's a long time ago. It features Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. This goes way, way back, even like kept a video from the Honeymooners. And so you would see that. And so the spokesperson is an actor. His name is Frankie Thomas. And he does a commercial, and he does a commercial for Red Goose shoes. Okay. So So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back, folks. Thank you.
Hi, gang. You know, this new Rocket Scout we're about to speed test is really something. It's perfectly designed for the job. You all know how important that is. And that's why these new Red Goose shoes called Emery are so great. They're perfectly designed for those warm summer days ahead. They're a brown, U-tipped Oxford with a brown tweed nylon mesh that gives you plenty of cool comfort and yet doesn't soil or show dirt like most light-colored meshes. And the Emery has a narrow, snug-fitting heel and also that sturdy, long-wearing Interflex sole. As a matter of fact, these smart-looking shoes are the last word for summer comfort. And they look just like your older brother's sports shoes. Everyone's wearing them, fellas. So how about you? Why don't you ask Mom and Dad to get you the Emery today? They're also available in brown with eggshell nylon mesh. Oh, and don't forget your Space Cadet identification bracelet. Absolutely free with every pair of Red Goose or John C. Roberts shoes. All right, gang? Stand by for the speed trial.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Red Goose shoes. That was during the show of Tom Corbett's Space Cadet. That's an old show. And they had aired from 1950 to 1955. And it aired for 15 minutes weekdays and 30 minutes on Saturday. So that was all over the place. And it aired on 4 networks. First on CBS, then on ABC, then on NBC, and then the Dumont network. That's another network that didn't last very long. And it was like Captain Video. It was very very entertaining at the time. So it was based on a comic book. It was from a comic strip from 1945. And then I think it was on the radio for a bit and like that. Anyway, so Tom Corbett was played by Frankie Thomas Jr. I think that was him. And he was very young. We did that. I think, well, about in his 30s or something like that. Well, yeah, sort of like that. And he also did other acting roles and all that. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about Red Goose shoes very quickly. That brand, here I'll pull it up so you can see. The Red Goose Shoe Company, or it was a brand. They began selling shoes in St. Louis, Missouri, and in 1869. And then the original name was called the Gieske Dionch Hayes. I can't pronounce it. That's and then they changed the name. So Gieske, I don't know. It's spelled Gieseke. It's German slang for goose. And the red color came later during the St. Louis World's Fair in 1904. And some stock boys painted the goose on the cartons red. That's where they got the idea. And then it was trademarked in 1906. And then the company merged in 1911, and then about in the 50s, it was bought by Florsheim Shoes, if you remember that, and they were sold all over the Chicagoland area, and of course across the country. And what was so great about this product is that it's this jingle they had, and the jingle was "Half the fun of having feet is Red Goose shoes." That was the jingle, the slogan, that is, like that. What was so very entertaining about this Red Goose was when you bought a pair of shoes from Red Goose, they had a Red Goose display. and you will pull down his neck. I think that's how it was done, because and then you pull down his neck, and then a golden egg just falls out of his belly, and then when you open the egg, you get some prizes like candy or a little toy or something like Cracker Jack. And that's what it was. The kids get excited like that. I would be excited too. The thrill of it is like when you pull, it's like at a slot machine, and you get coins. If you win, you get coins. If you get 3 lemons across, that's how it was. So I remember seeing this brand when I grew up at Roseland in the 1970s. I think like early 1970s, and then I begged my mom, "Can I buy can I try it?" And she says, "No, you have to buy a pair of shoes. You already have shoes." I say, "Oh, darn." So later on, I did need a pair of shoes, and I go, "Please, let me buy a pair of Red Goose shoes." She says, "Okay." So I did. I don't remember the store. I don't remember the store on Michigan Avenue. I did, and I pulled the goose's neck. Out comes the golden egg, and I got some candy, and I pulled apart the egg, and then got candy, and that was fun. That was great. That was a thrill. Oh, that was great. Unfortunately, the brand went out of business. I don't know when exactly it did. It was sold to other companies, and it just disappeared. But you can find items on eBay, like the original dispensers, or the advertisements, or the shoe boxes. You can find those, or and they're kind of cool to look at. So if you're in the market or you're feeling nostalgic, check out on eBay or any auction sites and buy something, because it takes back a lot of memories to a lot of people. Yeah, so that's great. Okay, so that's it for this show, and I'll do a recap of what I talked about. I talked about the Lloyd Thaxton show that aired on WNBQ TV, Channel 5 in Chicago, which later became WMAQ. That was hosted by Lloyd Thaxton. Also, Red Goose shoes that were located in Chicago and area. This podcast will be published later on today, wherever podcasts is available: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. If you have those apps on your phone or your tablet, any device, tap on the app and tap follow. You will get the latest episode. You will receive a notification. You can listen to previous episodes as you wish. Also be posted on my blog, vanishchicagoland.blog. You can tap on the link, and it'll take you right there, and you can listen as well. Also be shared on my social media accounts, Facebook, X, Twitter, like that. And also LinkedIn, Threads, and Blue Sky, and TikTok, and Instagram. Also, it's on my YouTube channel. Now, people ask me, where do I find your podcast? Where do I find your podcast? Go to YouTube, type in the search of Vanishing Chicagoland Stories, the podcast, and click subscribe. You will receive a notification of the latest episode, and you will get, and then you will receive, and you can listen to previous episodes as you wish. Okay. So that's it. So this is Pete Costanis, your host for Vanishing Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. Today is a beautiful day. It's a Sunday. People are going to watch the Bears game in about a minute. So have a fun day. So here's bye-bye from me, and here's bye-bye from Ray Rayner saying bye-bye-bye. Take care, everyone. So long.
We have to go. Bye-bye-bye.